Amazing.
And so I went from there to when I was pregnant with my second child and starting to get really busy in real estate, I realized that I needed some support staff. So I went to Bray Real Estate. Really loved the people there, and they were always welcoming whenever I went in to drop off a contract and an earnest money check. And so I didn't really interview a whole lot. I just went in and said, "Can I work here?" And they said, "Yes."
Welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn, and I'm excited to have you join me as I interview community members and business leaders from the communities in which I live, work, and serve through my business Kooler Garage Doors. We're going to bring you highlights on characters in our communities. Why? Because community matters, and I want to know more about who is behind our business and leadership in order to understand and support the community fabric that our relationships make up. And collectively, we can build stronger communities that support our lifestyles, our youth, and our health. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn. Today, I am so fortunate to be able to sit down with Christi Reece. Christi, you own the Christi Reece Group in Grand Junction.
Yes, good morning.
And I really appreciate your time. Good morning.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you. This is a treat.
Yeah. It's blowing like crazy outside the office, and up in Gunnison we have a snowstorm, and I love seeing the moisture. We can always use it. I want to know, just to start off, I'll start with the question I always love to start off with. And where is it that you grew up?
So I was born in Texas, but I grew up in Lake City, Colorado. So my folks were living in the Dallas area, and that's where my dad grew up. And they had been vacationing in southwestern Colorado since the 1940s. My dad's family had. And my dad got really tired of his corporate job, and he came home one day and said to my mom, "Can't take it anymore." And she said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "I want to go buy that little sporting goods store in Lake City, Colorado." And at the time, there were only 200 people living there, and there were no businesses that were open in the winter. So they bought the Sportsman Sporting Goods store, and we moved up there, and they kept it open year round, and they brought in a lot of things. They were the first business to have the Denver Post in there for people. So they had the weekly newspaper, and it was a great time, and that's where my heart is. I love Lake City, and so I have a big Gunnison, Crested Butte connection too, because I went to high school in Gunnison.
Yeah, I love that. How old were you when you made that move? When your family made that move?
I started first grade there, I believe. I think I did kindergarten.
Okay.
In Dallas.
It's pretty young.
Yeah, and I was in the 1880 schoolhouse.
Awesome.
I need to turn my phones off. Because phones are on, sorry.
It's all right. What was childhood like in Lake City?
Well, I mean, looking back, I think it was pretty idyllic, but we spent a lot of time doing things outside. There's not a lot of culture going on in the winter there, so we did a lot of cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, skating on the lake. That's what I really remember. And the summer times are just glorious. So you just spend time outside in the mountains, and it's so beautiful. And of course, like many teenagers, when I was in high school or getting ready to graduate, I thought I got to get out of this area and do something different. Mm-hmm. But then you come back, right? So, yeah, it's always right here.
Yeah. Were you an entrepreneur as a kid?
I did a little bit of babysitting, but working in the store mostly. So the Sportsman, when we bought it, it was sporting goods, gifts, and a liquor store. So mom and dad put us to work in the store every now and then. I'd sell worms and work behind the register. I also had a job at the local movie theater, the Mountaineer Movie Theater, which is still showing movies. Like, it's one of the few theaters
awesome.
In the area. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of working. And then when my dad got into real estate, I did work for him as an assistant, but also answering phones at the real estate office. So that was probably early high school. Maybe, yeah. maybe you're high.
Really?
Hey everybody, this is Luke from Kooler Garage Doors. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor, Sommar Garage Door Openers. In our opinion, Sommars are the highest quality product on the market today. We recommend them for all of our residential garage door installs because of the variety of features they include, such as Wi-Fi connectivity and safety features such as a fixed chain, which moves along a secure rail to ensure your garage door opens quietly and safely. Click on the link in the description to learn more about Sommar Garage Door Openers.
So, all right. So walk me through a little bit of the concise story. So childhood in Lake City and early experience with real estate.
Yeah.
So your father's an entrepreneur and gets into real estate, gives you a look at that. How does that go from high school to where you are now?
Well, I didn't really think real estate was something that I ever wanted to do when I was younger. And my mom owned a title company. And so, I had that perspective as well. So I think I just kind of grew up around the business and it was just part of my life. But I went to school in Texas and I got a film degree. I think I owe that all to the Mountaineer Movie Theater. Loved movies. But I wanted to work in the film industry for a while. But when I had the opportunity to come back to Colorado, I took it. So I moved back to Lake City after college. And that's when I got my real estate license. So my dad said, even if this isn't something that you want to do for the rest of your life and for your career, it's a great education to get your license and have it and use it if you want to. So that was 1992. So I just had my 30th anniversary of getting my license. I worked alongside my dad for a number of years, and I really didn't think it was the right career for me, but I was young, and I wanted to be out playing in the mountains. And he was like, did you call this person? Did you call them back? Did you do what you needed to do? Did you get your list done? And I was like, Dad. So it took me a while to realize that I was well suited to that line of work. But I did a lot of other things in between. When you live in a small town, you wear a lot of hats, right?
It's true.
I was selling real estate, and I had a gift shop, and I was Rolfing also. So, and I think all those things helped with my customer service skills. I think retail is great. Retail and restaurant, everybody should do that at least once in their lives.
I agree.
It's a great eye opener. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember I was always the back of the house in the restaurants going through high school. And at some point in my professional career, I was like, I have to go work on the front of the house. And I waited tables at our local Garlic Mike's in order to learn how to sell. And that customer service facing is so critical.
It is.
I'm going to push my kids into it for sure.
Yeah. And it's hard work. It's hard work.
Yeah. When did you land in Grand Junction and form the Christi Reece Group?
So I met my husband in 2001, and he was from Grand Junction. So we met in Lake City at the 10K. And
nice.
We kind of thought, do we want to live in Lake City or Grand Junction? And it was just, I think after 10 years back in Lake City after college, I was ready for something a little bigger, something a little different. And I had just recently spent some time in Grand Junction, and I thought, I kind of like Grand Junction. I think it's got a lot of potential. Before that, it was just one of those places I drove through on my way to Utah or something like that. So I hadn't really spent a whole lot of time here. So when we met, we did decide that we would make Grand Junction our home. And I wasn't sure I was going to get into real estate here, but I did have my license, and I just kind of kept falling into deals. And it just snowballed, and I thought, I think this is a good time to get into real estate in Grand Junction. So I started with a small firm here, just one gal in an office out by the airport, no staff. And that was back when we were hand delivering contracts, right? And faxing. Faxing was just starting to get kind of big. And but we did a lot of hand delivery of contracts and checks back then. No electronic software for sure.
Yeah. And that was mid 2000s?
Yeah, 2002, 2003. Yeah.
20-ish years. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so I went from there to when I was pregnant with my second child and starting to get really busy in real estate, I realized that I needed some support staff. So I went to Bray Real Estate. Really loved the people there, and they were always welcoming whenever I went in to drop off a contract and an earnest money check. And so I didn't really interview a whole lot. I just went in and said, "Can I work here?" And they said yes. And I became the top producer at that company after a number of years, and that was a great education. A lot of really wonderful agents there that taught me a lot. I learned a lot from everybody there, and appreciated my time there. But I started to build a team while I was at Bray. I realized I couldn't do everything by myself anymore, and I needed some help. So I brought on my first buyer's agent on my team and an assistant, and just started building from there.
Team is really the juice.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of really successful single agents, but you do get to a point where you get so busy that you can't provide the customer service that you used to be able to. And when you're a single agent, it's hard if you're listing property and out showing property and trying to coordinate your title services and your inspections and all of that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into a real estate transaction. So I've stepped back from the buyer side and let the agents on my team work with the buyers, and I just focus on listings, and that's been something I really enjoyed. And one of the things I really love is providing good jobs for our staff. Right now we have 16 agents and 7 staff, and I feel really good about providing really nice jobs for those people, and I think they really like where they work. We have a great culture, and we have a lot of fun. We had a Mardi Gras party yesterday. It was awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. What do you think, might you define the difference that makes the difference for the Christi Reece Group? And who is it that you attract, and for an experience of a buyer or seller, what is the difference between another real estate agent and...
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we focus on is that everybody that works here, this is their full-time job. So we don't have any part-time agents, the Christi Reece Group. This is all how we make our living. So we take it really seriously, and we do a lot of training. We do a lot of collaborating with agents, not only here in the Valley, but agents all over the country. So we're learning best practices, and there isn't any reason we can't do the same things they're doing in New York City, right here in Grand Junction, if they apply in the right way. So, I think we take a different approach as a team, because we really support each other. There's a lot of great agents and a lot of great companies out there, but we're like a little family, and we support each other. We tour each other's listings. We train each other. We're always there. Like, everybody on the team is always there for everybody else. Should you need something, people reach out and get the answers they need. And we call it refreshing real estate, because when you come in here, our team meetings are different than anywhere that you'll go in the Valley. We focus on different things, but we also focus on fun. We take our job seriously. We try to take ourselves too seriously. I mean, if you're not having fun, there's no point, really.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
But, we have a goal to provide a good real estate transaction for people. I think when you and I talked before, I mentioned that my real estate coach, Tom Ferry, talks about consumers think of realtors as like a bag of potato chips, that when you walk down the potato chip aisle, there's so many different kinds, but they're all similar, and it's really hard to determine how to pick one. So, we try to make ourselves stand out. We try to do things a little differently, and just not be a typical average agent. We study more, we put more hours in, we focus on customer service more, and try to make sure that our clients have a really smooth, easy experience. And we we've been very successful at it. And everything that comes
Yeah,
onto the team, they have to be dedicated to that.
I get that. I can feel it just being an observer and just watching. And when did you really learn how you learn and fall in love with that consistent, never-ending learning and improvement?
Hiring a business coach was a really important step for me. I searched for a long time. I'd go to seminars and things like that and try to find somebody that I could follow on a consistent basis that really spoke to me. Like their way of doing things made sense to me. And when I landed with Tom Ferry, I was like, this is it. Because I tried 3 or 4 other different coaching systems. And there's a lot of real estate and just business coaches out there. But I think having somebody look at your business from the outside is so important. I just love the accountability, but also the analyzing of my business from the outside, because sometimes you get your blinders on and you get your head down and you're working hard and you don't see the forest through the trees. So I really love having somebody that will, I'm with my coach every week on the phone, talking about what we're doing that's working, what we're doing that's not working, how we make changes, and how we provide a better experience for our clients.
Yeah, that's so good. And, for listeners, I would say I'm a huge proponent of coaching. And you look at athletics, it's a great example, but in anything that we want to get really good at, whether it's our voice or our business or, physical attributes, like having a coach is going to be another level of accountability. And when you get the right one, there's just some magic that happens there.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you been blessed with mentors throughout your life?
Yeah, I really have. I consider my parents my first mentors, but also Phil and Carolyn Verdon, who owned the movie theater in Lake City. Great folks and just creative and really giving. And, when you asked about where I grew up and how that influenced me, I think one of the most important things that I bring with me from Lake City is that my community was my family and my family was my community. And so I really want to give back. I think you can't live in a small town without participating in a lot of things. You can hide out, but we were always just involved in everything and giving back to the community to make it better all the time. And that's what we try to do in Grand Junction too, which I really love. I love kind of interweaving our business with local causes and supporting lots of different things here. Yeah,
and I've seen your efforts in that realm. You two also host a podcast and you bring on guests.
I'll have you on my podcast sometime.
Let's do it. And I've seen you do have a big component that gives back into other organizations, charities. What are you driving for? Another 5, 10, 15 years down the road, what is it that you might hope to leave as a legacy?
When we opened the Christi Reece Group as a company, so we were a team at another brokerage firm, and I talked to my team about how we could give back. And I thought, we were with Coldwell Banker, and we were giving a lot of money to Coldwell Banker, which we weren't sure where it was going. Like Coldwell Banker International. And they're a great organization. But for us, I thought, if we weren't sending that money to Chicago, we could keep it right here in our community. And so I brought up an idea with my team. What if we left and opened our own brokerage firm and then gave some of our revenue to local area nonprofits? And they all said, hell yes, let's do it. That is such a great idea. So I think that's a big part of our team culture, that we do a lot of giving to the community. And, as realtors, if we're successful, we make good money. And I think it's our duty to give back to the community. And we wanted to build it into our business model and not just say, hey, everybody on the team, we encourage you to write a check now and then and support these causes that you like. We wanted to make a system out of it so that our business model got everybody involved. So I just love it. And I think our team, I know everybody on the team really loves it. And that's part of the reason that a lot of the team members work here, because we have that giving attitude. And so I hope that we're showing other businesses how great it can be to give back to your community, especially if you're a success. I think it's important to share what you've done and help others, and help other business people be successful. Like I'm always happy to speak to people, share. I mastermind with other agents. I love helping people build their business, and therefore they can give back more.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Very cool. So we're in a bit of a shift, and I guess you could say like change is the only constant in any economy, any market. Certainly the Western Slope, Grand Junction, Gunnison, we've seen a population shift. COVID was a disruptor. And, potentially now we're entering a time where, just the housing market in general, maybe slowing down, maybe not, maybe it's depending on where you're at. But my question for you is like, what are we excited for? What's on the horizon that juices you a little bit and you can see some opportunity and potential to lean into?
Well, I think Grand Junction has just been growing by leaps and bounds. And I think not everybody loves big growth, but I will say that I think over the last 10 years, Grand Junction has become a much more vibrant community. And I still think we have a ways to go. Our art scene can improve, our culture scene can improve, our dining scene can improve. And so I think that a little bit more growth, measured growth and planned growth, I think is really exciting for Grand Junction. And we're busy. Not everybody wants to live in a ski area or a resort town, and sometimes it's cost prohibitive. So even though prices have gone up here a lot in the last 10 years, it's still one of the more affordable places to live in Colorado. And we're going to continue to draw people here. I love the fact that we've become a destination now. We're not just that place that people drive through anymore. People really come here because we have a lot to offer. And you can come ride your bike and float the river and drink some wine. And there's so much to do. And I think it's just getting better all the time. So I'm really excited about Grand Junction's future. And I love its proximity to everything in Western Colorado. It's just a great location to have a home base.
It really is. I would agree with that. All right. So a couple more questions for you, Christi, and we'll start wrapping around this conversation. Let's see, where do I want to go? I think I want to ask you a question. So if there's listeners out there that, maybe have just started a business or have a venture in their mind and they want to lean into it. Certainly there's some risk that goes along with that and taking that next step. But whether it's maybe a younger version of yourself or just a young person that is listening, what would you tell somebody that might encourage them to take that leap or that step?
Well, I'm a firm believer in taking advantage of opportunities when they come your way. I remember a friend of mine from Gunnison called one day and said, hey, I've got a permit for the Grand Canyon, private trip, 18 days coming up. Can you go? And I was like, no, I can't go. That's how am I going to take off work? How am I going to do that? And then I was like, that's crazy. Of course I have to go. Right. And so I feel that way about some things in business. There comes a point when you're like, of course I have to do this. You have to follow your heart and what drives you. But I think watching the marketplace, whatever kind of business you're in, and seeing where the opportunities lie, especially when there's changes. Change always brings opportunity. So when people start to freak out about the real estate market changing, I say, this is just more opportunity. It's opportunity for different clients. And we have to make sure that we're advising our clients on what the opportunities are in different markets. So as an entrepreneur, I think you take calculated risks. You do a lot of studying, you do a lot of talking, you find some mentors, and then you just got to go for it. And it can be really scary, but I think when you take advantage of those opportunities that come your way, it's a really great feeling to say, yeah, I saw this coming and now's the time and I'm going to take the leap.
Sure. How do you define failure?
I really don't believe in failure. I gotta say, I think everything is a learning experience. So you can have setbacks and you can have mistakes, but you can come back from just about anything and learn from it and be better. Be a better person, be a better business owner, be a better friend. So yeah, I don't like the word failure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like it either. There's always learning to be had, and it's part of the journey, right? For sure. The journey is the gift. Absolutely. Beautiful. Christi, what I loved is, threading together, and every conversation is similar, and I always start trying to understand a person's childhood and this contextual experience, right? Yeah. So, a shout out to you and your team. You have a strong brand that has a very significant presence. Like, I can't go into Grand Junction and not recognize your brand. And part of that might be because I am an entrepreneur and I'm always looking out for stuff, but also you guys do a great job of standing out. And now I've got a little bit of context. So I see a lot of video and video production in your social media. And now I'm like, okay, film student, and goes back to the film in Lake City, and I think it's beautiful to see that thread.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that story. Yeah. In closing, Christi, any final words? Anything you want to close out with?
Wow, here's my opportunity. What do I want to say? Be kind. That goes a long way in business. I think that one of my strengths is maintaining good relationships with other business owners and other realtors. And that's
a very good brand. Yeah.
That has brought me a lot of joy and a lot of business and a lot of success. I think respecting other people and showing them kindness. Excuse me. Whether they're a competitor of yours or somebody that needs some help getting their business going, or just somebody in your community, it goes a long way. And I love what you're doing with the podcast. I think that's you're providing a great service benefit outlet to the community, and it's obvious how much you enjoy it. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that. I really do enjoy it. It jazzes me, and every conversation is so enlightening. I really appreciate you opening up and just sharing some of your story. Your time is valued, and for folks that want to reach out, either learn more about Christi Reece Group and or you individually, how might they do that?
Well, we have a website, of course, christireece.com, and our phone number is 970-589-7700, and got lots of people here that would love to talk about the market, and me included. I'm always up for a phone call with anybody that wants to learn about Grand Junction or the real estate market or anything else. Give me a call.
Awesome. We'll include those links and phone number in our show notes, so please do reach out to Christi Reece and the Christi Reece Group. And here's to being kind and building a stronger community, Christi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Been a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.